Are you ready?
Hey, what's good? What's good, yo? It's me, Coach Rashid, and I'm back. Hey, guess what? Today we're going to do something that really most people want to know about. We're just going to talk about some of the top projects that we got going on. And right now, um, I'm here back in San Diego, and it's been a while. It's been a while, so I'm not really going to try to drag this out. I want to go ahead and just give you the meat, and when I have some things going on that I want to do a little differently. In the past, we get into programs, we see something, that's good or positive happening, and we just dive right in and we, start publishing that information. That's not really the way I want to roll with that. 2025 is different. Like I said, you'll see in a minute. The title of my topic is going to be about the case study, and the reason why I name it case study is because after all of the things that we've been through in 2025, it's like a case study of everything that has occurred. And now this is how we do business. And based on the case study, I learned that jumping out there first is really not the way to go. Right. And there are a lot of people that continue to do that, and that's their modus operandi, right? And if that's how they want to do it, that's cool. I respect, everybody in this space. I have no issues, with people doing it the way they want to do it. But for me and for my community, Team Achieve is still live, it's still rolling. There's a lot of great people that I still have, conversations with and connect with. We're definitely going to have to do a live, um, you know, live stream pretty soon, just with the community, and just to bring everybody up to speed. Because I'm going to hit on some of the top projects through here, but I'm not going to go into detail about everything that I would normally do with my community and the top people in the Prosperity Club. So what I want to do right now is, like I said, I'm going to dive in based on a little bit about why this is called a case study, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to dive too deep because I just really want to kind of scrape the surface. But I want to give you the content, and I want to do it in a very very short time frame. Don't want to drag it out. I can get long winded. I get excited about these projects, and there's some fascinating things going on this time around. And like I said, I'm doing it a little differently. So you won't hear about something like day one because I'm not pushing it out to you like that. The case study says let it prove itself first, and then bring it to the community. And that's something that I haven't done in the past, but that's what we're doing now. Now, at the end of the day, based on, like I said, people in this space and understanding this space, there are people out there that's just like me. They're like, hey, look, I appreciate the risk, and look, if you're in it, I'm in it, right? And so that's why, I don't have a problem with agreeing with the folks that put the information out right up front. The folks that say, hey, I got in this today. Look, if you want to make money, get into it today. That's an idea, but that's not always the actual case. The idea is, yes, you can get in, you can have an opportunity, you can have the best shot at it if it's that type of program. Well, guess what? Case study says I'm not trying to do that. Case study says previously that was the way to go. Now it's a whole different ball game. It's not about, hey, I just heard about it yesterday. It's day one, everybody jump in. No, that's not what we're doing. Like I said, other people may be doing that, but that's not how we're doing it in 2025. So what I'm going to do is I just did a couple of slides just so I can stay on point. So I won't push this out too long. I've, given you a 5-minute intro. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up the screen Let me see if I can find my information. Like I said, it's been a while, man. I ain't did this in a while, so just be patient. We're gonna make it happen. All right, so let's talk about this window here. Let's get this thing pulled up. Let's see if this is, what we can do for you. All right. So I think that, let me make sure that the screen has come up. Looks like I got something I'm working with there. All right, cool. All right. So, like I said, this is based on a case study. Now I'm creating a whole new way forward, right? So I'm not doing a case study, but based on my case study of all the things that I've done in the past, this is what I'm doing going forward. I mean, I believe it will benefit the team and the community a lot better. And I'll show you why in just a second. Like I said, this is the status of L3 Coaching and Consulting Limited. It's an offshore version of my US based company. And we're really just talking about one portion, which is under the Team Achieve banner. So the project status. So, of course, everybody in the world wants to know one thing. Hey, Rashid, where you been? What you been up to? What you got on your plate, right? So portfolio is packed. Like I said, you haven't seen any of this stuff. I talked about maybe one or two of these projects. But what you will find interesting is if you go back a year or even 2 years, you may hear a couple of these projects still on the docket. They're still rocking, they're still rolling, they're still doing their thing. So they just changed up a little bit, but there's a lot of stuff that I haven't put on here. Like I didn't put on here like the tokens that are just tokens that I purchased and just holding. I'm not, really going to go into that. I did throw a little stock in here just to give you some variety that I'm not just doing one thing. There's a lot of diversification in what I do. But here's the key to this slide. And like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because the only thing I'm going to talk about are the ones that really have asterisks or highlighted. Those are the only ones we're going to talk about, right? And that's going to keep our time down so that I don't go into this very long, drawn out thing because that's just not what I'm here to do. Influencing and convincing are two totally different things. And I'm not trying to do that to you at this point. But what I will say is there's a couple of these projects that I stand on, and I believe that you have something special. Whereas the management, the leadership, some of the top people in the program, this is amazing, right? And I'm going to talk about the ones that I believe are key to what I call M3, and that's millionaire in 3 months. I'm going to show you how this works. What do I have that's current, what's coming, and what's creative or variety, kind of a mixture. So what's active right now that is happening, you have the TSC nodes, right? The Trusted Smart Chain nodes. So if you don't know about the Trusted Smart Chain, if you were in the FAIR Project, right? The FAIR Project is an offshoot. Some leaders from the FAIR Project, from debt nodes, they actually started the FAIR Project. About a year went by. There was some issues with SEC dealing with the debt project. And so with that project, it spilled over into the FAIR Project. And so we bought those nodes. We were, things were happening. The nodes are still creating tokens. So that's pretty cool. I got like 300,000 of them. And so and they're, every day we're getting great updates. But what happened along the way, one of the top people in there, he was pulled in. He was doing consulting work. He was pulled into TS7, right? It was an exchange. These guys were only working with accredited investors, security tokens, and they were creating what we call the RWA, right? The real world asset, real world projects. And so they were helping actual businesses offline come onto the blockchain, but they were only dealing with it at a level of security tokens and accredited investors, right? So the one guy, Billy, he decided that since the FAIR Project, legit, they just got sucked into a bad situation. He didn't want everybody to just suffer forever. So one of the guys, Dr. Buck, he actually kind of coordinated with, I think it was Nextcloud, to see if we can get on the layer 2 with the FAIR Project, which were the RX tokens. And Billy decided he was with TS7, and he was pulled in on the consulting side, but he helped to create the TSC, which was the Trusted Smart Chain, and to develop a token under that particular node. And you have what we call a prospect wallet that's associated with that, and it's all like US based. They have all the regulatory guidance. Any project that comes through there has to have a Series A offering. They have to have SEC regulated. So they really made it to a point where it's straight up legit in the US. And now a couple of years after they started this project, now we see that the administration has opened the doors to blockchain projects and cryptocurrency. So the timing is really great for TSC nodes. That one is moving forward, and they are getting ready to launch the website. The nodes, all of us that did get the nodes, we're already earning from those nodes, and but they're not. You can't claim them until they actually launch the blockchain and launch the actual new website that we can go ahead and get in there and do some of those operations. So really happy with TSC nodes. I'm excited about where we're going with that one, and there's more to follow on that. XLs is a high priority on my discussion and promotion list. I don't use the term promotion along with this industry that much, but I'm going to say it because XLs, over a year, almost 2 years running, people have put as much as 300,000 into that project, and it is rocking and rolling. I mean, people are making a lot of money with this program. Over a year and 8 months, going on almost 2 years. I didn't even get into it until it was a year and 6 months in. That's what I'm saying. That's the new, based on the case study of what's going on and how things happen in this industry. I was not going to backpedal. I waited literally over a year, almost a year and a half, before I even got into that. And one of my really close partners in this industry was leading the charge, and he basically was along the same lines. But since he had met the owners and the top leaders, and on a couple of occasions asked some straight up hard questions, he actually put a little bit in and just kind of waited to see if anything was going to happen, negative, because we've been burnt so many times. And after a year and a half or so, he had already, boosted it up and started earning on a consistent basis. And he was like, man, this is happening. This is working. And then he went to one of their events out in Vegas, and he was like, man, I'm in, like, I'm all in. And so, I saw that as a very positive thing. And I had some funds at the time from other investments. And I said, okay, let's see what happens with this one. If this is the quality one, let's go for it. Right. And it was between that and TMX, which my good friend David Mercado, Cash for Legacy, he's one of the key figures, that we've been down, ever since we started in this industry. So we were actually in the same program offline as well. So it's pretty cool. But I didn't know him at the time. Just, historically, we had these discussions. So XLs is a top priority for me for my M3 plan, right? Some people, M3 can mean a couple of things, right? You can be M3, this is like months to millionaire. You could be M3, you could be, months to, 6 figures, whatever you want to call it. So you decide, how you have to move in this space in order to get to that M3. For me, it's critical, right? It's critical. And so I'll show you what I'm doing to get to the 7 figures in that period of time. But XLs is key to that as well, because XLs is a sustainable platform, and it's paying above average. Even in this industry, we look at it on a daily basis, weekly or monthly, and you can kind of see the longevity. But based on what they're doing, you want to know, you want to be clued into that. Every Saturday they do a live presentations, about 30 minutes, and they break down everything. So if you really want to understand the program, it's straight simple, right? And I'll highlight that in a minute, but it's too simple. There's nothing hard about it. So I encourage you, if you do anything, if you're saying, man, I'm looking for like the project. If I just got burnt on a project, there's a project called that was dealing with the scooters It just went down, just ran away, and I mean it's that was probably, I didn't think it could get any worse than some of the ones in the past that I've seen. This one definitely topped pretty much everything I've seen, and they ran away with lots of money. But the way they did it, I mean, to this day, they're still asking people to validate their accounts by putting in more money. I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, I'm just saying, if you are part of some of these things that happened recently, and you're kind of standing on the sideline saying, "I can't believe this happened to me," I tell you what I've learned in this space is you turn the corner, you pivot, and the things that you looked at, but you was like, that's too long term, or oh, it's not paying enough, or you know what, I'll look at that later. Now it's time. Excels is your vehicle. You can set it and forget it, but you won't ever forget it because you'll be looking every month for that payout, which has been consistent every month for over a year and about 8 months, going on 9. So we're looking at about 2 years consistency here. Can't beat that. And now they're getting ready to launch their blockchain with their DEX. So they're really growing this thing. So that's why I spend a little more time on Excels, because that's a key player for me. Now, I may not offer anything else as an option because Excels to me is that option. Period. Right? If you're looking for something, that's the one. Now, moving on. MoveQuest. We know MoveQuest is doing its thing. Been doing it for a while. MoveQuest is you get paid for your physical activity. You earn basically tokens for your physical activity. MoveQuest is starting to kick it in gear again. They're no pun intended. It's really starting to move again. The token price was up to over $100 in 2024. When I had first got in there, the first about 2 months or 3 months, it just continued to climb. It was amazing. A lot of people were pretty excited about that. And then over the next few months, it started to level off a little bit. And corrections happen in this industry. So MoveQuest is one of those legit platforms that's doing things right. And so you see things get to a point where even though the activity is being done, even though there were tokens being made, it was a very, very, very low amount that was being produced or earned from all of the work that people were doing. And so people kept withdrawing. People kept selling their tokens just to continue participating, because there's no restriction. You can sell your tokens at any time. So that was happening. The gas prices for Avalanche, sometimes it would be very high. So it became a challenge really to participate with that particular project on a consistent basis. So I put that as a hold, right? For me personally, because I started traveling and things like this. So I wasn't able to do the physical activity in order to earn the tokens, which I think is a beautiful program. I will keep it as one of the top programs because I do believe that they have created something special. And so if you're looking at something that will motivate you to get out your chair, get off the couch, get out there and work out and earn while you actually are participating in activities, then MoveQuest is the place to be. And like I said, if you check out MoveQuest on Dex Screener, on that particular decentralized exchange, you'll see that it is climbing. The price of the token, I think, went from like $3 the other day. Now it's over $8. Then it dropped to $7. People start selling again, so it went back up a little bit. So keep your eye on that because some special things are happening in this space. I'll probably be talking about MoveQuest separately here pretty soon because it's starting to really, really generate a lot of buzz all over again. But it's over a year old, so it's doing great. Taylor Capital, right? You see the asterisk, Taylor Capital. I don't have much to say about it. I'm going to tell you something that's interesting about Taylor Capital. Taylor Capital, when it first launched, this was something a little bit outside of my comfort zone, more DeFi. And I had a guy reached out to me, on Telegram that had been following me for a while. And he says, hey, this is something that you might want to look at because the leadership is very experienced. They've done, things. So I looked at it and I saw some really good stuff that I like. So I put a little bit in there and I mean, it was crazy. I think I was was like 7 or 8% a day, for like a week. And I was like, wow, how do they do that? And then all of a sudden it crashed, right? And it lost everything. We're like, I thought it was a bot. So a lot of people were very confused on how they would be able to go to zero, and everybody lose everything like that quick. So they regrouped and they said, okay, you know what? We're not gonna, do this anymore. We're gonna do it in a safe way. And so Taylor Capital came back and they really, I'm talking, when you say safe, they went safe. I basically said, I wrote them off and said, look, forget it. I'm just not going to participate because that's a loss. I'm moving on, right? Closed the doors, moved on, took my name out of the group, everything. Well, all of a sudden, I get an email saying, profit, from Taylor Capital. I'm like, profit? What weekly profit is this? And I look and it's like point maybe 0.05% or something like that. So me and one of my good guys in the community, good friend of mine, Joe, he he's we were just going back and forth in the chat, and he was like, yeah, I said, yeah, MoveQuest, kind of low profits at this time, and he was like, well, Taylor Capital can't get any lower, and it's funny because consistent, it is actually earning like literally over 2 years now, but it is very, very, very low, like 0.1% a week, like it's that like that, right? But the reason why I have it here is because I gave up on that platform. I said it is done, and lo and behold, even with me walking away, they continued with what they said they would do, and they did it. They changed the program. They offered very low payouts, but hey, it's all automated, and it's actually doing what they said it would do. So I'll probably show you a screenshot here in a few minutes. So Taylor Capital is just it's a consistent low profit, but it's very consistent, and in this space that's rare. Boss Tribe 360, Boss is Blue Ocean Society, is something that it's a private society. So we don't do videos, we don't talk about it, maybe friends and family type thing. If you're in my Telegram or Facebook, community, then obviously you know about it because most people are in there, are in Boss. I highly recommend it, Boss. I still believe Boss is a leader when it comes to this industry. I think they're doing things right. I think they've had some serious challenges, and they continue to try their best to work through those challenges with integrity. But if I had to put them on an individual presentation, in a promotion perspective, I would not do it. But I would say that it is still one that is a quality managed organization, and I believe that they will come around, and people will benefit greatly from that. So that's what I have to say about that. Mirror nodes. Mirror nodes is a very new node project that I just got into. Mirror nodes, funny thing, Boss introduced mirror nodes to the organization and the members. And so with that, I wasn't a big node guy because nodes normally pay a very, very, very low amount over an indefinite time frame, right? And so it's promoted as forever money, forever profits, right? But if you only get it in 50 cents a day, what does that really mean, right? And so you kind of have to balance that out. So normally when you hear presentations or if you hear people that are presenting node projects, the nodes may cost you $1,000 to $3,000 per node, and you're only making 25, 50 cents a day. So not very attractive. So I kind of stayed away from them for a long time. But then after you start to build your portfolio and your diversification strategy, you start to understand the value of nodes. And when you find really, really, really strong node projects that have serious use cases, then that 50 cent can become $5 over time because the project is going to grow. The project is going to do something that increases its value. When that value increases, then the amount that you start earning every day increases. So when that happens, then you got in at a time that it was 5 cents or 10 cents or whatever it was, and now it's $1, right? And you're getting that per day, but it's compounding because you're going to leave it in there until you see some significant changes. And so that happens over time as well. But the difference with some of these node projects today is that, like Miranos, for instance, Miranos is a very powerful project because you get to listen to the owners of the program and what they're doing, and they're bringing on their particular coin or token, right? And so you can basically buy into that, and and purchase X amount based on how much you deposit. But when you do that, you're able to earn pretty much on every project that they offer. And they are doing all the marketing, they're doing all the promotions, they're doing all of the things that's necessary to grow that business. So very powerful. So that's something that you'll hear a little bit more about as we grow as well. UKBS Gold Deal, right? This is another one that's semi-private. It's not really a public thing, but what it is, it is that diversification strategy. So a good friend of mine out of the UK, been working with for a number of years and other projects, introduced me to this particular gold deal. It's not necessarily trading, even though the guy does some trading at the what is it, tier, I think it's a tier one level with the banks, right? And so he has this private placement program that he actually focuses on. And normally you have to have anywhere from 2 to 5 to 50 million or so to participate. But he opened it up to a few people that they said, hey, we can raise that kind of money. And he was like, okay, if you can at least if people 25,000 was the minimum. And they said, okay, we could do that. So anyway, eventually we reached out to the organization that we're part of, and basically collectively came up with enough to do some things with. And so with that UK gold deal, that one's based on a return of about 30% a month on that. And so if you did it, individually with larger amounts, you could get up to 40% a month. So that's a pretty serious deal. The challenge that we have with that one, and this is why it's not highlighted as one of the key things I want to talk about, is because it got stalled with the banking and some of the AML things that happened, because they did bring in a lot of people from different countries. And so the verification process got really, really serious. And so the UK is pretty serious about checking all that. And so it's been a while, but we get, updates. And so they're trying to work through that. And so we'll get more information as soon as that, kind of breaks loose. Then I'll be able to do separate, presentations about that and give you some updates on it as well. So one of the key projects that's in my portfolio is the private one. It's a gold PAM, and PAM is, a trading account that's literally run by bots. And we, collectively have an opportunity to deposit some funds and earn off that collective effort. That one, that one is outstanding. I can just say that, and you'll see that on the next slide. So what's coming, right? I know I spent a lot of time on what we have, which is logical. What's coming? E-Estates, Texas Coin. I could talk about Texas Coin and just be blown away, and you would be like, wow. I'm gonna tell you the thing about Texas Coin and the reason why it's right there. I have planned to get in it for a while, but it is a node project that is offering cryptocurrency. But I listened to a number of the presentations, and there are some serious people in that. Texas, because it is a Texas IT project on the blockchain, very, very, very interesting. There are people that have never ever even been in crypto that start to participate because of what the Texas Coin is doing right there in Dallas, Texas area. McKinney has the actual farm there with all of the like Bitcoin mining machines, but these are for Texas. So he has an actual mining farm there in McKinney, Texas, and so that's pretty powerful in itself. They're doing some things with the local city. They've made good contacts and going to have good contracts with some of those as well to use the Texas Coin and actually show that the usability is real. So I really like what they're doing. That's on the docket. That's something that I don't want to buy one or two. I really want to buy 9 of the nodes, and you get 11. So I'm just holding off until I can get the funds to do that. But that right there, yeah, I will be talking about that a lot more. But you definitely want to get on. There's presentations on Wednesday nights. Powerful, man. You would be blown away by what you hear. E estates. Oh my gosh. Um, E estates is a very this is something that I saw a while back when I was investing, or when I was looking into just crypto coins. Right, there were projects that um, were basically looking at real estate and how they could monetize real estate on a digital side from a fractional perspective. Right, everybody can't put 100,000, 200,000 into um, to real estate and make real good funds. So there was always a drive to figure out how do we fractionalize this. And back then, the fractional real estate really is what we call today real world assets. This is the RWA project. And so there was one, E and Prop E. There was a couple other ones. They were doing it in a certain way, and you could purchase the tokens and the coins and earn from that. So a couple of those I was very interested in, but really didn't see them go anywhere because I got in before the nodes and the DeFi and RWA. All that was new, right? Hadn't even really come up, and so it was just nodes and coins. And over time, I saw there was one estate token, and then but it was only focused on security. It was only focused on credit investors. So I was like, oh well. But I knew one of my guys in the community, he did go into that, puts millions in there, and he's really happy about it. Um, but then e-estates comes up, and so recently I saw a presentation about it, and I was blown away. I was literally excited from day one about this, and then all of a sudden, right um, in my Telegram, which I mean, a lot, you get so much. And a lot of people hate Telegram because of this. I don't have a problem with it. People will hit you up for everything every day. I get numerous hits daily from strangers, asking to look at this and do this and do that. That's okay, right? But every now and then, there might be something that interests me, and I'll take a look at it. E-estates, there was a guy out of the Great Britain area. He sent me a message, and I was okay. And anyway, he sent me the link to take a look at it. I'm gonna tell you, I was just like, wow, like I really like what E-estates is doing. Now, I wasn't floored by the ROI, but like I said, I got past that in the nodes and how it works and that long-term benefit. And then when you start to diversify, then it starts to make sense, right? And so it took me a minute to say, look, I love the project, but let me see how that earning, where does it fit in my portfolio? Because I definitely want digital real estate. Like that was automatic. And so when I really looked at it numerous times, and then I've been on the live presentations with Anthony Deloach and a couple other guys, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely something that I'm going to do. But there's a timing for me, right? I'm never chasing the money. I just make sure it's the right time, and if it fits into my portfolio, then that's kind of the way I roll. So that right there, I did register, so that's something that I have. I'm taking a look at it. Working with my sponsor on that and get everything set up. And as soon as I get all that set up, then you'll hear more about that. So that is something that's on deck right now. And so those are the only two that I'm seriously going to do. And then some of the other ones that I'm reviewing, Avatex, PopMax. PopMax is a very interesting platform. I know Salcon is there in that, and he's a big promoter of it. And so I got a little notice in YouTube, and I said, "Oh, what is this?" And I was like, Pop Max doesn't sound interesting. But one thing that was interesting to me was that you could literally stake those tokens, and you could earn, something like I think 30% a month or something, 1% a day for 365. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I said, I'll take a look at it. But there's, just the way you have to move to get the tokens and to do the actual conversions. And it's a lot of, hoops you have to jump through. So may or may not get involved with that. IconX, good friend of mine, good African brother, really, really knowledgeable, very respectful in this space. He hit me up about Icon X. I saw some brothers that I've known from Dubai in there as well, from other programs. I love what they're doing. They got a different twist on. They got this thing called a race. I like what they're doing, but I'm not sure that's going to be one of the things that I bring on board. But we'll keep an eye out for it. As you know, Cashflow NFT, Bellator, and Cryptex, um, they're still doing their thing. Cryptex, I literally just watched. I saw a guy post up a link the other day, and I said, I hadn't seen a presentation in a while. I'm like, are they still rocking? So I jumped on the call, and people are still excited about Cryptex. If you don't know about Cryptex, you definitely did check out my video on Cryptex. It is a very long-term play, but you only, if you're just curious about it, you can literally drop $100 for a contract. It runs for 2 years, 3 years, and you get a return of about 30,000. So if it's real or not, I mean, come on, $100. I mean, two people go out for dinner, get a couple of coffees or teas afterwards, and take some dessert. Your $100 is gone, right? So it's not a matter of being expensive. It's just that some people just don't want to engage in something that long without knowing what might happen. So it just depends on your risk tolerance, and depends on where you want to be in 2, 3 years. And I look back and say, in 2020, I started this project to get in there, get into crypto, and really benefit from it. But I was looking at a lot of short-term things, because I'm like, and that's 6 months, that's 12 months. I'm not going to stake my money for that long. But guess what? 12 months. If it was 2020, 2021 came and went. 2022 showed up. 2023 showed up. Guess what? I'm still here. I'm still blessed to be here. And all the things that I said I didn't want to do, there were so many times that if I would have, put it into this token or that crypto, Bitcoin being the one, or Ethereum, think about where it would be today, right? I'm talking Bitcoin or BNB. It was like $200-300 back then, but I didn't see it because I felt like that was just too long. But now, whole different ballgame. Case study. I've learned from it, and now I'm doing it differently. All right. So what's extra? What's different, right? Cryptex is definitely on the docket. We'll see what it's like. 2026 November. Three of my contracts will mature, and we'll see where that goes. Actually, 15 will mature, so we'll see if that pans out. It's a high six-figure return on that, so I'll let you know how it goes. But definitely check out my video on Cryptex. Now, what's creative? What's different? What's extra? Like, what are the other things that are in the portfolio? So the diversification came with the stocks. NVIDIA, boom, I got it back when it was 400 before it split. Very excited. I've taken money out. I put money in. It's beautiful. C is Citicorp. Citicorp has been doing, Citigroup or whatever, it's been doing great. They just had an investors meeting. They just talked about their earnings, for the year, and their stock went up. Cisco has always been pretty good. There's a few others out there, but these are really the ones that's doing the most work. I do have the Bitcoin ETFs. I got the Ethereum ETFs as well, so it's all good. The property invest. So earlier this year, I had an opportunity to purchase property in my hometown, Tyler, Texas, and I was very excited about that. And so created financing, got some funds, and actually made that purchase. Got it obviously for a really good deal. It's an older house. Actually, it's in my family, but I didn't want to deal with the trust and dealing with the legal things. So I said, hey, I'm just going to buy it, and we can get everything done legally. And now, it's owned. It's no gift. It's no this. It's like we did it the right way and we got it done. So that was really cool. So we had that. So that's something that me and my wife has talked about it. We can get that set up. I might have some pictures if I get a chance. I'll post that up. But yeah, we wanted to do something with that. And so we were able to finally get out there this summer and actually do some work on the house. Like I said, I'll post up some pictures on that. But yeah, it's going to take it's going to take a while to get it up and running. It's very old. We had a lot of the plumbing replaced. We had a lot of the leaks and things like that fixed. So that part was done, but that pretty much, took a while. But we're gonna do, we got a lot of great things we're gonna do to it. We already got the design, for the cabinets and the kitchen and all that. We got the design for extending the bedrooms and just really doing some great stuff. We may put a garage in there, put a nice deck at the back. It's a big backyard right there in a good spot in town. So I did a little video as well. So I'll post that up if you're in Texas, Tyler, Texas area, East Texas, and you're looking for a place. Texas, I'm telling you, Tyler is growing faster than any other city really in Texas. It's amazing what's going on there. So I think Amazon just purchased and no, Amazon just built with the Texas Commerce Authority. They actually built a 14,000 square foot fulfillment center out there. So if that's happening, that's going to bring more business. So that's why I was like, I got to get this property. And there's a lot of new developments going on really near where the property that I have is. So I'm very excited about getting that done and growing that as well. But looking to do more property investment. That's you take you grow your funds online and then you take them offline and then you mix them up a little bit along the way and you can secure the future. So that's where I'm at with that. We got this one right here. Like I said, only 19 weeks old. And I just heard the guy talk about this the other day and I was like, what? The testimonials, I mean, it was crazy. And I'm listening to, I think the guy's name, Bobby Gray, or I know his name is Gray. He's the founder, I think it is. This thing is so amazing. I was like, man, how in the world am I, sleeping on this? But 19 weeks old, 19 weeks, you're looking at, what's that? 19 weeks is about 16. So what, 4 months, almost 5 months. I mean, a little bit over 5. Yeah, almost 5 months. 19 weeks, almost 5 months. And there's already 2 millionaires in the program. That's a serious node project. That killed my notion of long term, $5 a day. Hopefully it'll work out. 2 years I'll be making some money off of this node. No. They got a real plan. And when I listened to the founder talk about the compensation plan, I had a better understanding of why it's doing what it's doing. You can literally make 33% just from inviting 3 people to do what you have done. 33%. And that is crazy. Like, that's a serious return on your money. All right. So without further ado, Impact M3. This right here is what I invite everybody to understand. With Team Achieve, it is Impact M3. And I have the evidence to show you how this is playing out. So, yes, it's been a very long time that I've been on any project, any video, talking about anything. But today, I wanted to introduce you to the case study that got me to come on today. All right. So hopefully this was something that gave you a little insight to what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I have one thing that is going to change the game when it comes to implementing that. Simple. All you need is the funds and patience. That's pretty much it. And I'm going to tell you, with one of these projects, and the project being the one that's paid over 333%, because yes, it's kind of got my focus. It takes a lot of patience. I can tell you that. But it doesn't take a lot of funds. You just have to follow a process. And that's what I'm saying right now, it's not something that they're offering to everybody. But like I said, because I worked with a guy in another project before, we were just part of the group, and we were invited in. But he said, soon we'll be able to make sure everything is working like it's supposed to. Everything is doing what it's supposed to do. The consistency has been there literally for like 6 months. Um, it's crazy. That's all I can say. But I do post it onto my Telegram group, so you can see kind of some of the process or the progress that's been made. And when I get X amount of withdrawals, when I get X amount of ROI or ROE, if you will, then I'm going to expand pretty much on the details of how you get in there, how you get yourself verified, the levels of verification, um, the days that, depending on the bot that you have, then it determines the split that you have with the trader. There's a multiple traders, and you'll see that as well. And there's bots, basically. It's not traders, they're different bots that do different things. So just a lot of interesting things going on with that. All right. So anyway, it's been about 50 minutes, which this is like 45 minutes longer than I wanted to be on. So I apologize if anybody, spent your time with me and was like, what, you still going? So yeah, that's really what I got for you. But I appreciate you guys coming on. Like I said, that's kind of what we got, going on. I like I said, I'm not going to get into each one individually too much. I'm not really going at it that way. I'm not here, like I said, to try to get anybody to do something that they don't want to do. I just want to let you guys know it's been a while. Team Achieve is still rocking and rolling. Coach Rashid is still here. I'm doing a lot more offline. My kids are growing up. They just started school. I enjoy every minute with them. And so spending all that time on this thing, it's not helping me make money, right? It's helping me to promote, helping me to talk, helping me to kind of connect and build a network. That's cool. And I appreciate that. If you reach out to me, we will definitely have a conversation. We can kick it. I'm all for that. So don't worry. I'm not, hiding or anything, but I really, 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 enjoy putting that work in with my family and doing some of the offline things that we do. I can, man, if you know, right? There's a lot of projects we got going on. We're adding things to the house, and I mean, lots of stuff we've been just really putting off. Now we're actually doing it, and so that's where I really enjoy my time. So a lot more to follow up on. There's certain milestones that I want to hit first, and then I'll go in deeper on some of these projects. All right, peace. Y'all have a good evening, and I thank you. I sincerely thank you for joining me today. All right, y'all take care. I'll see you on next one. All right.